A huge source of anxiety for many of us comes from worrying about what other people think of us and feeling like we're being judged in some way. Not only can this completely stress us out, but we may even find ourselves wanting to change our behavior or our appearance, or second guessing every word we say because we want to try to control how other people see us. And I think a lot of times we think we're doing this because we view them as being critical or judgmental people, and we feel like we have to do this in order to gain their approval. We have this terrible story in our mind about what they're going to think about us if we don't do all this, and we make it all about them. The thing is, however, that in reality, even when we're dealing with people who we know really are judgmental and critical, our worries about what they think about us usually have a lot more to do with our own self-judgment. The very criticism that we fear is often a direct reflection of our insecurities and the negative narrative about ourselves that we've created. We put it on them, but really we're the ones that are thinking it, and we become terrified to hear these comments because we know that they trigger us. And again, this is not true 100% of the time. Sometimes people really do mischaracterize us and misjudge us. But usually when that happens, it really doesn't cut that deep because we know that it's inaccurate. We might get angry, we might feel annoyed for a little bit, but it usually doesn't cause anxiety. The trouble comes when we believe on some level that it could be true. The things that trigger us are the things that deep down we've been believing about ourselves for a long time. So for example, if we're worrying that our boss is going to think that we're clueless or we're not that great at our job, chances are it's really not the boss. We feel that way. We worry that we're not that great at our job. Or if we are worried that a certain person's not going to think that we're smart, funny, or attractive, again, it's really not the judgments of that other person that we're thinking about. We're thinking about our own judgment. We've already judged ourselves as being not that funny, smart, or attractive. And believe me, I know that there really are a lot of critical and judgmental people in the world, but they do not tend to be as ruthless or as cruel as our own inner dialogue. Now, before we go any further, I have to say that feelings are not facts, and just because we feel insecure about something does not make it true at all. But when we notice that we are feeling this way and we make this connection, there's actually a lot we can learn about ourselves, and it opens the door to healing a lot of soul-crushing limiting beliefs that we maybe didn't even notice that we had. So when this worry about judgment from other people starts creeping up, we have to first ask ourselves, is this really about them or is this about me? And if we determine that the worry really is rooted in our own insecurities, we need to use this opportunity to not only question the validity of these negative beliefs, but also figure out where they're coming from. And there can be many things that help to create these types of stories in our minds. And this is by no means an exhaustive list, but it could possibly stem from childhood experiences like bullying or teasing or even trauma. Always comparing ourselves to other people and feeling inferior, feeling the weight of societal or cultural pressures to look or present ourselves in a certain way, being negatively stereotyped or discriminated against, or having destructive mental habits like catastrophic thinking, or feeling inadequate when we fail to meet our own unrealistic expectations, or even being directly told these criticisms by others. And all of these things can be incredibly painful to experience. So it's no wonder that we internalize these stories and we start to believe that they're true. And once that happens, we will always fear that we're going to be exposed in some way. So we get really protective of how other people see us because we don't want to be judged. But again, just because we feel insecure about something does not mean that we have something to be insecure about. And like I said, uncovering these fears can be invaluable because we can finally start to address them and overcome them. And this part of the process begins with us questioning the validity of our thoughts, honestly discerning if these fears are truly accurate and supported by evidence at this stage in our lives, not who we were in the past. Now, I really do think that the best way that we can do this in a way that we can get real answers that are not clouded by our emotions is to use the ABC model from cognitive behavioral therapy. And I have a full video that I will link in the description box that walks you through exactly how to use it. And I really like it because it helps us to recognize when we're thinking irrationally or when we are unfairly characterizing ourselves. Sometimes we're so invested in a negative story about ourselves that we really do have trouble separating our fears from reality. And another great thing about the ABC model is that it helps us to not only challenge our irrational beliefs, but actually replace them with more realistic and healthy perspectives. And this helps us start to rebuild our self-esteem and resilience. And all of this is really important because going forward, when we do feel judged or criticized, but we know it's about something that isn't true, it's really not going to hurt that much. We can just brush it off. And in cases where we do feel like maybe there's some validity to the judgment, we can simply begin to make positive changes that help us to overcome our insecurities. So for example, going back to the job, if we really do feel like we're being criticized because we're struggling a little bit, instead of just feeling anxious about that, we can start to take action, maybe learn some new skills or even ask for further support. But I think the most important thing here is self-acceptance. It is crucial in us overcoming the fear of judgment. When we can learn to love ourselves and accept ourselves exactly how we are, flaws and all, we become a lot less reliant on external validation and we become a lot less sensitive to criticism. It doesn't mean that we can't change aspects of ourselves if we decide that we want to, but we need to be able to love ourselves either way, no matter what criticism we receive. And remember, we really don't have the power or ability to be able to control how people choose to see us in the first place. And that's why it's so important that we don't try to base our self-acceptance on the judgments of other people. But like I said earlier, when we're honest with ourselves, we can see that these worries about what other people are thinking about us usually really do have so much more to do with us than them. So please don't forget this when you are busy judging yourself, and use this knowledge to start looking into the different areas of your life that may still need healing and then actually do the work, because you deserve it. You are so much more amazing than you are giving yourself credit for, and this is an aspect of yourself that you can change. So as always, I truly hope that today's video resonated with you, and I would love to hear your thoughts, so please leave them down below. I want to thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you in the next video.